Hey there, I'm Frank Mitchell. On this channel, it's all about helping you understand your car and keeping it running the way it should. Whether it's routine maintenance or solving those tricky problems, I've got you covered. If you find this useful, give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to watch till the end. You might learn something that saves you time and money. All right, let's get started.
When it comes to buying a car, a huge range of possibilities opens up before us. It is a very important decision, and we usually choose to make the purchase in our own province or within the country for simple safety and proximity reasons. However, in recent years the practice of importing from abroad has become popular, mainly because of the lower selling prices and the excessive delivery times given by dealers when buying a new car. Faced with such a challenge, there are many unknowns that arise, but the main doubt when looking for imported cars is whether it is worth it. We will tell you all the details you should take into account. Advantages and disadvantages of import cars. Advantages: the used car market has increased its prices alarmingly in the face of the industry's problems. The lack of components has forced to delay orders, and the waiting time has been extended, in some cases, for more than 12 months. The immediacy of the second-hand market is its great asset, in addition to the competitive prices that can be obtained abroad. The main advantages of importing a car from abroad are price, speed of delivery, condition of the vehicle, greater choice of vehicles. Stock of high-end cars. Disadvantages: buying a used car always involves certain risks inherent to the operation, and these are doubled when we talk about imported cars. As you have already seen, there are many positive aspects, but you must also take into account the disadvantages of an operation of this caliber. The most important ones are uncertain documentation, possible scams, hidden mechanical faults, false or excessive mileage, logistical problems, import cost, registration and homologation procedure. How much does it cost to import a car? If you go to any used car sales page abroad, you will see that prices are significantly lower than in Spain. The average age of the vehicle fleet in countries such as Belgium or Germany is much lower than in Spain. Their drivers change their cars more frequently, and that is why we can see so many offers at very competitive prices. However, you should not only look at the advertised sale value, because to this negotiable amount you have to add other secondary costs derived from the import itself. If you are a private customer looking for a bargain abroad, let us tell you that the operation will most likely not be profitable. The main importers work with large volumes of vehicles that make importing cheaper. As we told you some time ago, the costs of importing a car from Germany, one of the main destinations, can easily add an additional cost of 2,000 or 3,000 euros to the operation, without counting setbacks. It doesn't sound like much, but the margin is getting tighter and bargains are hard to find. The rates will depend on the country of origin. Here are some specific cases. Importing a car from France to Spain. In this case, it is necessary to take into account that France belongs, like Spain, to the European Union, and that thanks to the Schengen law the free circulation of people and vehicles within the limits of Europe is allowed. This greatly facilitates import operations and reduces secondary costs. In spite of this, it is necessary to take into account the price of transport, which will depend on the area of the country where the car is located, and also the numerous fees of the DGT for the approval procedures, including the provisional permit, the temporary and definitive license plates, the expense of the ITV and other secondary management and service costs if the operation is carried out through specialized companies. As we have already said, the cost will increase by a minimum of 2,000 euros. Importing a car from Switzerland to Spain. The real import problem arises when we cross the borders of the European Union. Switzerland presents a number of disadvantages when buying cars in the country. Although since 2005 it has been covered by the Schengen Act, its products must go through additional customs formalities as they are considered foreigners. This increases the complexity of the operation as well as the derived costs, especially in customs clearance. The operations before the DGT are also complicated with previous steps, but at the end of the day the General Directorate of Traffic requires the same steps: issuance of provisional license plates, visit to the ITV and subsequent issuance of certificate with definitive plates. All these intermediate processes raise the final bill to over €3,000 in the best of cases, and it can be much higher if we are talking about high-end or exclusive cars as they are common in the country of the Alps. Importing a car from the United States to Spain, although Switzerland is not in the European Union, the laws facilitate mobility to or from the Central European country. The case is quite different when we move outside the continent, as in the case of the United States. Currently, the shipping industry is suffering a considerable increase in the price of cargo containers, which significantly increases the cost of any transport operation by sea. So much so that vehicle import operations have almost disappeared, with few exceptions. Taking this into account, if we want to make the purchase in the United States, we will have to add not only the exaggerated overcost of the transfer but also the same taxes and procedures as in the Swiss case. The passage through the customs office will be somewhat more complex, but feasible, and the subsequent visit to the lines of the ITV and the DGT to complete the last duties of provisional and final registration. With all this, we can talk about a price increase of more than €10,000 depending on the operation. Documents and formalities required for the purchase of imported vehicles with the car we want to buy already decided, and after having signed the purchase and sale agreement, it is time to start all the bureaucratic and import procedures. The best thing to do is to be patient and be as organized as possible, because there can be a lot of papers that we end up storing. The essential documents are the following. The invoice of the purchase contract already reflects VAT and agency fees. Maintenance book, if available, valid ID card or passport of the car's owner, certificate of the vehicle's condition temporary and international insurance certificate, certificate of technical inspection in force in the country of origin, European certificate of conformity, provisional registration, vehicle registration certificate and technical data sheet, definitive registration. How to take my imported car to Spain. In the case of being in Europe, the most common thing is to travel with the owned car to Spain. A trip that can serve to detect possible problems or breakdowns. It is the most economical of all, although it is necessary to take into account the cost of travel both there and back, as well as the cost of gasoline and the issuance of a temporary insurance. The other possibility is to hire a logistics company to carry out the transfer for you by means of a car carrier truck. In this case, the price increases, although it is much more comfortable. The most extreme case is when we have to change continent. In this case, the most common is that the shipment is made by sea with the car loaded in a container. The transport will be very expensive. Can I drive my imported car before registering it in Spain? Yes, but you must take into account that the authorities give a maximum period of 30 days to change the license plates, and it is always mandatory to drive with the insurance in force. In that month of margin granted by the DGT, it is possible to circulate with the foreign plates. This is more than enough time to carry out all the formalities at the traffic office and with the ITV. Once the change has been requested, the DGT will issue provisional plates, the green plates. Where does an imported vehicle pass the ITV? At any authorized ITV station. It is mandatory to keep the appointment, otherwise the DGT will not allow the vehicle to circulate. Bring all the mandatory documentation, pay the fees, and there will be no problem. Once your car receives the new Spanish technical certificate, you can go back to traffic to apply for the definitive license plates for your new imported car. So, is it better to buy an import car or a new one? The doubt is always there. At the moment, the delay for the delivery of new cars is excessive and many drivers cannot wait that long. Used cars are always a very interesting option, and so are imported cars, although, as has already been made clear, there are certain risks involved. The prices are no longer so beneficial for individuals, but if you find a bargain, it can be a very profitable operation. Always check before you buy, and keep in mind that it is necessary to value before buying a used car. That is very easy, through Carwow. Yes. We collaborate with a partner that allows you to sell your car. Sell your car comfortably to the biggest car buyer in Europe. Fast, easy, and with total security. In conclusion, Importing cars can be a worthwhile investment for those seeking unique models, advanced technology, or specific features not available in their home market. However, it's essential to weigh the potential benefits against the challenges, such as higher costs, regulatory hurdles, and maintenance considerations. Ultimately, the decision should align with your personal preferences, budget, and long-term goals. By doing thorough research and understanding the implications, you can make an informed choice that suits your needs. Thank you for watching, and we hope this discussion has helped you consider whether importing a car is the right move for you.